Good morning for AM 1340, 99.5 FM WGRV. I'm Reid Seals, and I'm here with Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for our monthly interview. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Reid.
First question, what are your feelings on the City of Greeneville retaining lawyers in regards to the tax increase last year? And what steps will the county take to prevent a lawsuit?
Well, I read that in the paper. Essentially, nothing has been presented to us yet, Reid. The commissioners and our legal team are actually aware of that the City of Greeneville retained an outside attorney or out-of-town attorney. I will say, in speaking to that, because, again, nothing has been presented to my office or the commission yet, that, when I was elected and took office, the county was actually embroiled in a legal fight that was initiated internally, so it was sort of an in-house argument, if you will. It involved actually two outside law firms, as we know now, at great expense to you and me. So we finally, after what seemed like a very dark path, was able to negotiate sort of an end to the legal fees and litigation, but learned, again, at great expense, that outside law firms are expensive, and sometimes they're willing or even encouraging spending as long as you're willing to go along with it. So, but until we're presented with something, we're going to move forward with upgrading our EMS. I know the commission took action to continue to replace our ambulance fleet. They also made a decision, at quite a good expense, to buy heart monitors for EMS. We've got some great things going on in terms of offsetting some rising costs at solid waste by using a little ingenuity in management and service down there. Expect some good announcements very soon about maybe some convenience center decisions as well as far as the hours go. And we're going to move forward with implementing an electronic timekeeping system, the Chronos system, that incidentally, by the way, that had we had it at the time of the lawsuit that we just talked about internally with the county, it might have actually kept us out of the lawsuit. So, again, we're just trying to make decisions that will save me and you and all of the taxpayers a great deal of dollars and be more accurate and efficient in terms of those sort of things. So, but really, until we're presented with something, we can't. There's really no need to speculate. So.
If the refugee resolution had passed, what authority would the county have had to enforce it if the governor refused to withdraw his consent?
Well, the short answer, Reid, is really not much. This, I guess, decision or resolution came about as a result of President Trump issued an executive order essentially saying that the governors and the local municipalities could decide whether or not they wanted to continue to accept refugees or not. It's pretty much understood in the Constitution that power, in terms of immigration, which refugee resettlement is a small part of, is relegated to the legislative branch or Congress. A Maryland judge essentially said, put a block or a stop on President Trump's executive order until, I guess, it can be decided, for instance, whether or not that is constitutional or not. Having done that, a lot of the governors around the country have decided either one way or another. Governor Lee here in Tennessee had decided, for instance, to continue to accept refugee resettlement. Governor Abbott, a Republican governor in Texas, decided that Texas would not opt to not accept refugees. As far as that status goes on a state level, I think until the greater decision is made over this injunction that was filed in Maryland, then we're sort of at a standstill. So the resolution might have come to Greene County somewhat prematurely in terms of what could or couldn't be done. But it's essentially, we would have to, the county's governed by state law. So we would have to, if the governor decided, for instance, that he wasn't going to honor our request, then there was not a whole lot we could do other than to, for instance, start litigation against the state for that measure. But in this case, the governor, for instance, has decided. President Trump has decided for Congress, for the legislative branch. Governor Lee has decided for the State Assembly, and at this point, we don't know whether that's going to even be allowed to stand or not. So.
Now, there was a presentation on animal laws in Greene County on Monday at the commission, or Tuesday at the commission meeting.
Yes.
And can you kind of explain what's going on with updating the animal laws in Greene County?
Well, the Miss Gypsy Tweed came and gave us a presentation that we've been actually working on in conjunction with some of the surrounding counties about how better to care for our pets, given the fact that state law, for instance, is very vague on some issues, particularly with regards to shelter. There's some in our community, obviously, that are greatly concerned about tethering and chaining and things like that. The city of Johnson City recently adopted some ordinances that upgrades animal and pet care, if you will, that's being considered by the Animal Control Committee and some selected people that prominent in the community that are heavily involved with rescue, humane society operations, those types of things. So we're just in sort of a look and see as to how we can craft that would help us here in Greene County. Obviously, there's going to be some give and take. One of the things that I think that we certainly seriously should consider is, for instance, an exemption on on doing anything or mandating anything with hunting animals, hunting dogs, other than good, humane, solid care for them. Food, water, shelter, those types of things. But oftentimes our animal control gets into places where they build a case, they want to prosecute pet abusers and that sort of thing, and their hands are often tied by state law because it's so vague, and their case can't be proven. It gets reduced, it gets thrown out, that sort of thing, and then someone that most all of us would agree, for instance, that has abused or neglected an animal gets off scot-free, and that has angered a lot of people. It should upset you and I as well. But there's some common sense things that I think we can implement that the committee is considering, that the commission will obviously be able to weigh in on, that will help us become a better community with regard to pet and animal care.
Any updates on the on the Consumer Credit Union building that this county purchased last year?
Absolutely. We're moving forward with our CCU building upgrades. All of the we don't have to change a lot, but we've done some demolition inside the building. We plan to have at least 2 of our departments up there. The Election Commission is going to have a great place up there with plenty of parking, plenty of space to do early voting in the fall during the presidential election. We're just making sure, for instance, that it's ADA compliant with regard to handicap accessible restrooms. And then on the backside, we're going to have a permanent place for quite a while now for our EMA. All of the demolition is complete. Our maintenance director, Mel Seaton, has done an outstanding job. I can't brag on him enough, and his team to go up there on nearly a daily basis and make the necessary changes to save you and I some taxpayer dollars, so that when we have to come back and start building back, again, the restroom upgrades and changes, some of the things to do with the electrical, the internet and phone service type changes that have to take place, then that won't cost us near as much. There's some of the things, obviously, that we have the capability to do, and some of the things that we don't have the capability to do. But that project has come along nicely. We expect that when the Election Commission closes out the presidential primary election in March, when they certify that we will be moving them up there, or very close to moving them up there, and then EMA will follow right alongside somewhat later and have a great space up there for a very long time. There's some discussion, for instance, that's sort of part and parcel to some of the discussions inside the city about perhaps if the drive-through lanes, for instance, aren't used, that we could convert that side or that portion of the building into some type of ambulance station bay and better serve more or less the bypass or the center of the city and be co-located there near the fire station. But that's certainly a vision that's not imminent. But the CCU building upgrades, and that's going to be a great thing for us. People will be real proud of that, I'm sure, when we're done and complete, and we look forward to it. So.
Okay, tell me about the Employee of the Month for January.
Well, the Employee of the Month for January was Mr. Adam Arrington. Once again, very proud of Adam. He's the Director of Maintenance down at the Sheriff's Office, takes care of the jail and the workhouse. And over the course of the last few months, Adam has saved the taxpayers, you and I, and should be very proud, has saved us countless dollars. And I wish I had some way to quantify how much Adam has saved us. I've witnessed personally him saw up sections of the floor to replace aged drain work and collapsed pipes and refinish floors and turn the old wash bay for patrol cars into a functional storage area for much needed by the Sheriff's Department. Again, performing maintenance tasks and service tasks, certainly well above my capability, and well above most capability. And he's doing it largely with just a one or a two-man team. And he's done that at great savings to us. He came in, refurbished, for instance, all of the 35-year-old door locking mechanisms at the jail that were previously thought to be unserviceable and would have to be replaced and may still have to be replaced sometime in the future at great cost. I mean, all of that stuff is not cheap. And for instance, he's working on a project now down at the workhouse to replace some of the aging water lines and things like that we're now beginning to have trouble with. He's fixed the HVAC down there, refinished the floors, and it resulted really in assisting us in keeping our jail recertification, which everybody knows based on most recent history that jail recertification, overcrowding, inmate lawsuits cost us a lot of money and put us in a position where we have to consider, tax raises and things like that to build jails and that sort of thing. And Adam has contributed greatly to keeping us from having to do that. So he's the Employee of the Month, and we're happy to do that. Happy to have that program for anybody in our employee ranks that perform above and beyond and outside the scope of their job duties, and Adam has done that.
Now, we're in a census year, and can you tell us how this affects Greene County?
And thanks for that, Reid. I get in sort of an unabashed plug for the census. Census Day is April 1st. We're still looking for census workers. Anybody that would like to be a census worker in Greene County, the current rate of pay is about $15 an hour. They can go to 2020census.gov/jobs. Or they can call 1-855-JOB-2020 and make application to be a census worker here in Greene County. The plug that I put in last month was very helpful doing that. We did upgrade our numbers, but we still need people to work in the census in Greene County. So we're going forward with that. Radio of Greeneville and the Greeneville Sun have provided us with advertising campaigns that we're looking at and will consider very soon as reminders about the census, to complete the census and have everyone counted. We certainly, that data means a great deal to us when it comes to federal and state dollars and grants and awards. Oftentimes population numbers and demographics like that are looked at to award our community dollars.
Well, I want to thank Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for joining us this morning. And this is AM 1340 and 99.5 FM WGRV, and I'm Reid Seals.